It's time for the RPM Podcast, starring Scott Riggleman.
He's not afraid to stick it in.
Tim Riggleman.
I just couldn't suck up to him.
And Josh Matthews.
He's not going to go ramming into somebody.
And here we are again, episode 182 of the RPM Podcast. It is September 1st, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. I'm Scott Riggleman down in Manchester, New Jersey. My brother Tim Riggleman is up in Farmingdale, New Jersey. Tim, how are you?
I'm good, ready to go. Thank you.
And Joshua Matthews, the producer of the show, is down there in Waretown, New Jersey. Josh, how are you doing? I seen you got a fresh new haircut there.
Yeah, I lost the fight with a lawnmower, but I did get to take a ride last week to ride on Thomas the Tank Engine up in Strasbourg.
All right, and we got a special guest tonight. He's actually a return guest. It's very unusual when we get return guests because it's usually one and done on this show. But we have a driver of the On Point Motorsports North American Motor Car Sierra Delta number 30 Toyota Tundra.
That's a mouthful.
In the NASCAR Gander RV Outdoor Truck Series. Mr. Danny Bohn, how you doing, Danny?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show again as a repeat.
Yeah. Danny lives down there in Mooresville, North Carolina, but we all know him from Freehold, New Jersey. We know the whole Bohn family. They were all based out of Freehold, New Jersey. One thing I seen you did pretty cool, Danny, when you raced this race this weekend at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. We know it as Gateway. It's in Madison, Illinois. You were listed as your hometown as Freehold, New Jersey. I thought that was pretty cool that you're still using your Freehold, New Jersey as your hometown.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. That's where it all started. That's where my family's from. And then obviously I started at Wall Stadium, but was living in Freehold when I started racing. So I'm trying to represent the New Jersey people down here.
Is that an option for you? Can you pick what hometown you want to use, even if it's not like your mail-in address or your official address that you might have on your NASCAR license?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could. I've seen from my hometown, I've seen Mooresville, Huntersville, Freehold, at different racetracks. So, I think it is an option. What if it's where you were born or where you currently reside. So, but I always put Freehold, New Jersey as my hometown.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I mean, we had a joke a couple of weeks ago. Josh got all excited because there was somebody in the Xfinity race from Mahwah, New Jersey. And I'm like, oh, really? That's weird. And when we looked it up, it was Joe Graff Jr., who's been racing for 4 or 5 years down there now from Mahwah, New Jersey.
Yeah,
Josh just recognized it.
I was going to say that's who I thought it was, too, before you said his name.
And we've had Brian Kremer on here, who's Joe's spotter, so we all knew it was Joe. For some reason, it's just called Josh's eye that there was someone from New Jersey. So when I was watching the truck race, I actually stayed home Sunday to watch the truck race because I knew you were in it. And when you came up Freehold, New Jersey, I was going to bust Josh's chops a little bit and say, hey, there's a guy from Freehold, New Jersey in that race.
I'm not even going to try to defend myself there.
Well, you had a great race. You really did. I mean, you started 30th. You missed a few wrecks. There was a few good wrecks in there. I was very impressed with your run. You ended up 16th, but with a few laps to go, I think you were as high as 12th or 13th there for a little while in the end. And another reason why it was very, very impressive, it was your first time back in the truck in a while. Plus, I don't think you even had practice or anything out there, right? You just lined up and raced this weekend, didn't you? Yeah,
no, there was no practice at all. So it was pretty much just climb in, and my first up to speed lap was the green flag of the race. I was able to, I guess the time off, it's good and bad. I was able to run some modified races this year to kind of keep, just my reflexes up and, keep my mind in the game. But, the time off gave me some time to think about what I did last year and some mistakes that maybe I made. And then, took time to talk to other drivers and things that worked for them. There was actually quite a few things. It's like, man, I wish I would have knew that last year. I would have tried to apply that. So the time off definitely helped that way. Obviously the more you run, the better you're going to get. So I was able to, I knew I was going to run this one for a while. I knew it was kind of a track that would fit my driving style, with, it being a smaller track and, tight corners and flat corners and stuff that I'm kind of used to. So I've spent a lot of time on the simulator, which honestly I can say helped me a lot in the beginning of that race. Some of the people I started around they were lifting 3-4 truck lengths early, getting in the corner, just trying to figure it out. And I was like, well, hell, I know I can drive in harder than that. I did it on the simulator, and I just sailed it off in there. So, the simulator time helped. And then it was, like I said, it was kind of a track that, fit like what I'm used to doing in my driving style. So, the On Point Motorsports brought me a really good truck, and, I'm at the point in my career that I can't really have bad days at the track. I have limited opportunities, and I need to make the best of them. So, obviously I'm not going to go out there and drive over my head, but I need to make sure people notice me on the racetrack. And we poked inside to a 13th, I think we were at one point. Some of the results was me. I think my fastest laps of the race was the last 4 laps of the race, and I moved up, and I fought tight most of the day, and I was running kind of the bottom in 3 and 4. And you get in that rhythm, and sometimes you just don't think quick enough to try something different. And, with the short track mentality, most of the time when you race at a racetrack, it's one lane, you don't move around, on dirt you do, but you don't like drive in on the high side at Wall Stadium thinking you're going to find grip up there and find speed, So I kind of got in that rhythm where I just ran, the middle in 1 and 2 and ran the bottom in 3 and 4. And it just, my speed wasn't there. Well, I moved up with 4 to go and picked up 0.3 seconds a lap, and started to actually catch the guys in front of me. And I'm like, man, I wish I'd have did this 15 laps before that, but
and that's really something a spotter could have helped you with, right, Tim? Can't you guys kind of tell what's going on, what the other trucks are doing on the track in a situation like that, and maybe help your driver a little bit by saying, hey, this guy's running up in this lane. You might want to give that a shot.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that anyway.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry. I was just saying I learned that Danny, I already learned something today. Danny could have blamed the spotter.
And he did. That's unusual. But just real quick, touching base on spotters out there, I did notice one thing that was kind of weird out there for this NASCAR race. There wasn't a lot of NASCAR spotters out there because they were elsewhere. And a lot of the drivers in the truck race were actually using IndyCar drivers, spotters, IndyCar drivers, spotters up there. Did you have a NASCAR spot or your regular spotter, or did you use someone from the IndyCar series?
I actually did use somebody from the IndyCar series. So obviously, trucks are a little bit different than the IndyCar. So, and then, he doesn't really, I don't know, he doesn't watch truck races there all the time or watch truck races so I'm not blaming him at all. He did a great job. He called a good race. Me being a rookie, I need people to talk to me a lot and look out at what the other trucks are doing and just talk me through it. So, Jason Jarrett usually spots for me. He does a really good job with that. So it was just one of those tough weekends with, Xfinity and Cup down at Daytona. That's why they did away with the live pit stop deal, because all the pit crews were down in Daytona and they didn't want them to have to fly up there for Sunday. So, we made it work. We had a solid day. I wouldn't point the finger at anybody I think everybody did a great job. You know what I mean? It's just, we just learned together. I haven't been in the truck in almost a year. It was November at Homestead was the last time.
We go all the way back to November, the beginning of November, down in Homestead. I was there that day to watch you at the track, and me and Nancy went to that race, and we really enjoyed watching you down there. That was my next question, actually. Do those two tracks compare at all? When I watched it on TV, I said, man, he might have a little trouble with this track. It's nothing he ever drove. And I'm like, well, he was at Homestead, but Homestead had quite a bit more banking in that track, but the size seemed pretty much similar. Was there anything that helped you that you learned at Homestead that helped you out Gateway, or was it totally different?
Nah, I'd say Homestead was, I don't feel like I applied much there. Obviously, Homestead gave me a lot of confidence in the truck and what it does. Homestead, the air means a lot. And I noticed that I will say that the air made a decent amount of effect at Gateway as well. Like, you get behind the truck and you don't get air on the nose, that thing just pushes up the racetrack. So that was, something that I learned at Homestead. It didn't really have a ton of similarities, but, you could feel the draft a little bit there at Gateway. But, it took me half of the race at Homestead to kind of get a feel for, obviously you don't want to go out and wreck these things. So when I was racing for the last Lucky Dog spot there at Homestead, I was like, hey, I need to stay in front of this truck. So I really got up on the wheel a couple times off of 4 at Homestead. I had the thing like dead sideways, and it's crazy how much the air will help you save it. So you can step it out pretty far, you know, and then, but you get all the air on the side of the truck, and it actually helps you save the truck. And, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm doing 170 mile an hour. I step this thing out, I'm gone. Well, it's not really the case. So some of the, you know, just getting used to the truck and what it does came from Homestead. And that gave me a little bit more confidence going into, you know, Gateway, you know, because I had the truck sideways at 170 mile an hour, was able to save it and, you know, felt what the air did when you had it sideways and stuff like that. So experience there helped me for sure. But I don't feel like I applied a ton of what we did at Homestead to Gateway.
Okay, that's fair. Actually, Scott, I'm just have a curious a little question. How did you feel about the pit stop setup for this race? You mentioned, you know, a lot of the teams staying in Daytona, so they weren't able to come up there to help you out. So, how did you feel that whole scenario worked out?
You asking me, or did you ask? We're asking Scott.
Oh, I was asking you, Danny.
You weren't there.
No, I feel like it made it tough. Obviously, it's one of the things, like it was good and bad, because you could have a bad pit stop and lose a lot of track position, but you could also have a good pit stop and gain a lot of track position. So pretty much it was like a straight up deal Sunday. You didn't gain, you didn't lose. So I don't know, like hindsight's 20/20. Like, yeah, it would have been cool to be able to have some pit strategy, maybe do something a little different, short pit, you know, something like that to help gain track position. But we didn't have that option. So I was 13th at one time. So I had to pass 17 trucks. And there was a guy got in the fence here and there, but it wasn't like there was any multi-truck wrecks. I think everybody that wrecked or got crashed was single trucks. And there was only a handful of them, I think. So, you know, it's just track position and gaining track position was tough. You know, you had to go out and pass them. You know, and then starting 30th, I pretty much, you know, by the time I got to 20th, I think I was in stage 1, but I was half a lap behind because it's, you know, you're battling for position. And obviously that's not the fastest way around the track when you're trying to pass somebody. So,
Right.
And Danny, just to let you know, when me and Nancy were sitting here on the couch in Manchester, New Jersey, watching your race, we got excited when you made it to 20th place because they were only showing on the TV the top 20. The ticker on the side of the screen only showed the top 20. So when you broke into the top 20, we knew where you were, and we were excited that you were in the 20th position, and then we could watch you move up from there, you know. So it was, you know, I know on the track you're like, oh, you're probably only 20th, but sitting home and watching on TV, it was a big thing because we could see where you were at, you know. How is that track holding up? The facility itself and the track itself, because that's one of those tracks that are always rumored to close down or not open back up or not even have NASCAR there. From the TV, the place still looks like it's in great shape. How was there any potholes in the tracks or cracks or anything like that? Or how was the facility itself?
I thought it was really nice. You know what I mean? I didn't see anything wrong with the track. The track surface seemed really good. It was, I thought it was a really nice facility. The people that run the place there were awesome to work with. The area was nice. We stayed downtown St. Louis. That was it wasn't bad, but it was a little eerie with everything that's going on. But I mean, I think it was a really nice place. And like I said, the track was really accommodating. Sierra Delta, one of my sponsors, they provide service dogs for veterans. We brought a show truck. Well, I actually brought the Darlington truck out there this weekend.
They did show that on TV, just so everybody's aware.
They did a whole nice segment on TV about that, Danny. It was really cool.
Yeah, so they, Scott and Taylor there at Gateway or Worldwide Technology Raceway, they helped them out a lot by giving them a really nice place to set up. And like I said, we brought the truck that you guys saw on TV was the truck that I'm going to race this weekend at Darlington. And then we brought the Jeep Gladiator that North American Motor Car donated to them out there, and really had a nice display set up for them. And, you know, it was in a really good location. You know, they came and checked on the veterans. We had Sage, one of the dogs out there. We actually she would jump up on the back of the truck. So we got some cool pictures, and they were very accommodating and worked with us there. So, I really do appreciate them doing that for us. And I think it was a really good weekend for everybody, involved with that. And if anybody's listening, there's a North American Motor Car that's interested. North American Motor Car built a 2020 Jeep Rubicon Gladiator. It's lettered up red, white, and blue, kind of like the truck. And then you can go on Sierra Delta, and I know there's a link on North American Motor Car as well, and make a donation to Sierra Delta. And then November 11th, if you make a donation, you get a certain amount of entries that'll go into a number system. And then in November 11th, Veterans Day, they're going to give the Jeep away based off of the number you get online. And basically you make a donation to a really good cause. Like we wouldn't be able to do this anything without our veterans. And it's a really great cause and a really great nonprofit organization started by a veteran. And, you can help them out and win a Jeep November 11th. So,
That'd be cool.
If people are listening, go check that out. So, but yeah, it was
I think
really
Scott's
nice.
going to enter that because don't you and Nancy love going off roading in that Jeep that you have?
Yeah, I mean the Jeeps, man. Jeeps are cool. We have me and Nancy have a Jeep, and we go off roading when we're not racing, and we really enjoy that. The one cool thing about you having the booth was just to let people know that are listening to the podcast now that might not have saw the race out there in Gateway. They were allowed fans at this race, Josh. I don't know if they were allowed full capacity or whatever, but they had a decent crowd there. So that adds value to a sponsorship like Danny has. They can set up a booth there and show the people in the grandstands and stuff like that.
Part of that
good to see
segment
people back in the grandstands, and it looked like there was quite a few people there too.
Part of that segment we talked about, Scott, was they had a lot of the video of the fans getting pictures in front of the truck and stuff like that. And as Danny mentioned, the dog sitting on the bed of the truck. I do remember that getting on TV for a second there. And overall, that was really great. And Daytona, too, had fans as well. We want to acknowledge that. But it's as bad of a year as it's been for really pretty much everybody. To be able to get some fans at the track and even in a limited capacity to get out there and get to that booth and get involved with it, especially at that point, getting involved, next to a truck, getting your picture with it. That's huge especially for the
driver.
kids.
I mean, Danny was there too, meeting the fans and stuff like that. It's
absolutely.
hard to sell sponsorship when you lose that fans in the stands thing. Now with the fans in the stands slowly coming back, it's easier for a guy like Danny to help his sponsor promote what they want to promote, and it makes it more worth their money that they're spending to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, and you hit the nail on the head there. It's been tough with, you get so limited TV time, and it's nothing against, the people that cover the races, but they can only cover so much. So, not having fans there and not being able to interact with fans or put a truck on display or, have your sponsor set up the display, it's like, what can you offer them? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
what value is there? And also, like the hospitality suites, that's always part of it. Like, I know I used to get free tickets from companies that, I did business with, maybe like DuPont Paints or something, maybe what gave County Line Auto Body tickets or something like that for their customers to give to their customers. It makes it, a value to the companies. And when that's missing, it's hard to sell the sponsorship for the type of money you need,
Yeah, no, 100%. That's kind of why we've put off the beginning of the year. Like I was supposed to do 4 or 5 races already by now, but we were waiting to see if 1, the fans was important, then 2, they cut away practice and qualifying. It's like, well, heck, I've never been to a lot of these tracks. It's probably not beneficial for me to start my first lap, the green flag at a race, but after NASCAR said that's what it's going to be for the rest of the year, Gateway announced that IndyCar was going to be there in conjunction with us. They were going to allow fans. It was like, well, we definitely need to go do that one. So, all in all, I think it was a really good weekend for everybody, and definitely something to build on.
Yeah, but Danny, now that you've done a NASCAR race where you just showed up and drove in the race, isn't it kind of cool? Because I do that with that enduro stuff I do, and there's a lot of times I show up to racetracks that I've never been at, and by the end of the race, I'm like, I'm kind of glad I came. I didn't miss practice at all. I just used the first 5 or 10 laps, get used to the track, and then go from there. I mean, now that you did it, it's not that bad of a deal.
No, it's not. I mean, you kind of I guess if I had been at the tracks before, I wouldn't mind doing that. But, it's going to take me a certain amount of time. And Gateway actually came to me pretty quick, but I don't know how many laps it's going to take me to kind of figure out Darlington. So, but like Bristol, I've ran the modified there a couple times. I'm not really concerned about that. If we end up going to Martinsville, it's like, hell yeah, I'll jump in that, no problem. But, tracks that just 0 laps around, that's the tough part. It just takes.
What about Talladega? I have the list here of what races you're doing. All the races coming up now. You're going to try to finish out the season.
We're going to try to finish out the season. Yeah, we have. I just got fitted in the Darlington truck today, so that's definite. Richmond, we're hoping to do.
Bristol for sure. I'm looking at that too. Darlington is actually, I think it's this Sunday, 9/6. September 6th. And then Richmond is on Thursday. It's only 4 days turnaround, to get from Darlington to Richmond.
Yeah, that was the good thing about Sunday was I didn't tear anything up. So I think we're gonna plan to use the same truck I raced at Gateway at Richmond. I think it'll be a really good truck there. And then we brought the Darlington truck out the Gateway, so that was pretty much ready to go. So if we don't tear anything up today and tomorrow, or Sunday, and then the following Thursday, I think we should be okay. But yeah, then the following Thursday is Bristol, so you got a week. So
yeah. I'm looking at your schedule. From here on out, you're busy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a lot of racing you got lined up in the next few weeks here. Which is great, which is cool. So I know you missed the beginning of the season, and that's a bummer. But now you're in it, man. Now it's time to go racing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think we had a really good weekend, and just keep building on it. It was a good start for not being in the truck for almost a year, and you just keep plugging away and keep doing your homework and keep trying to get better.
And the tough thing you got going on too, it's your first time at Darlington, and on top of that, you got some big names in there. Greg Biffle's coming back to race the Truck Series. David Reagan's going to be in it, and it was just announced the other day that Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bean is actually making a return to NASCAR in the Truck Series.
And don't forget, Natalie Decker's right up there, right?
What's that?
Natalie Decker's right up there, right?
Yeah. But I mean, not only you're going to a tough track, but there's going to be some tough competition in that race too.
Yeah, no, I definitely. The trucks haven't been there in a couple of years, so
right.
There is some experienced drivers going to be in there, like Biffle and them.
Dan, we noticed that that happened to you right at the beginning of when your deal was supposed to start. It was supposed to start at Dover again, but you guys opted to take that race off, and it worked out well for you because you did go to Gateway a little more prepared, and you had a great run there. Were you bummed out that you missed Dover? I thought Dover would have been a great race for you because I always look at that track as a big Wall Stadium, and we all know you run very, very well at Wall Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to go, but these guys have been working their butt off the last, for the whole year, honestly, and it was one of them times where it was like, hey, we could go run really well at Gateway and Darlington and be really prepared, or we can try to do these 3 and, hopefully they go well. So, we just decided that Dover's pretty close to home. So it was obviously somewhere where I wanted to go and be able to say I raced that. But, we took the week off, and, honestly, I think it was the right move, that we were really prepared for Gateway. We had a really good run. And then, we're that much farther ahead for Darlington coming into this weekend. So I think it was a smart decision all in all. I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to go, but there's always next year. So, these guys here, it's not a huge team. It's, just a handful of guys, but they work their butt off, and, they honestly overachieve, for the amount of people that are here, so they had a couple, just couple wrecks and stuff, and then you kind of get a little behind, and then sometimes you just need to stop and regroup. So I was all for whatever they needed to do, and like I said, I think it was the smart thing to do. And then we'll going forward, we'll start.
I know you're saying your Darlington truck is the one you used as a show truck at Gateway, so it's all set up with your sponsor's name. But I'm a little disappointed in that. I know how important sponsors are, but I was kind of hoping you'd do a throwback to maybe like a Parker Bones 659 or something like that down at Darlington. I thought that would be really cool. I mean, Tommy Baldwin's doing a paint scheme as like one of his father's old modifieds. Just maybe, maybe next year if you go back to Darlington, maybe you can talk the team and your sponsors into doing like a throwback paint scheme.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I think that would definitely be cool to do at some point. But, like North American Motor Car and Sierra Delta have, you know, been huge supporters of me. You know, honestly, like gave me the opportunity last year for Phoenix and Homestead, and then jumped on board to get me to do this year. And, you know, we're really pushing that Jeep thing. So it would have been cool too, you know, but I just don't think the time is right now. Like they deserve everything they get right now.
I'm looking at the schedule, and just me being a short track racer from New Jersey like you are, I'm pretty jealous about the Talladega one. I'm not going to lie, man. That's so cool. You get to go to Talladega and race. Maybe by then they'll give you guys some practice. Who knows? But if not, man, you think it was nervous the first few laps at Gateway. Wait till you get on the Talladega for the first time.
Yeah, they did announce that there is no practice for the rest of the year. So, yeah, we go, you know, if we do Vegas, we'll go right to Talladega. It's one of them things where it's a crapshoot going there. A lot of people got their first wins there, and a lot of people are in the first wreck there. So,
right.
But it's one of them ones that you have to do, you know what I mean, to kind of get you, you know, if I was to be able to do a full deal next year, you know, it'd be better to go into next year with some restrictor plate and drafting experience than none. So it's definitely one I felt like we needed to do. I really wanted to go to Daytona in February, but, you know, Talladega is pretty similar. So we'll have to get some drafting experience there.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at all the remaining races on the schedule, and the only track I see that you raced at is Martinsville. And so that must be pretty cool going back to Martinsville if it's going to be the first time going to, you know, being your second time at a racetrack in a truck. I think that's going to be very beneficial for you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm actually really looking forward to that one. I think you know, I have a really good notebook from last year. I took a lot of notes. You know, I know we know where the truck was at. So if we can start there, you know, obviously there's no practice, so you can't tune on it, but we have a really good starting point for there. Plus I have some laps. I ran the modified at Bristol a couple times. I think I ran it 3 years with the tour. So, you know, Bristol was always one of them tracks that I think I finished 7th one year. But just never really got comfortable there in the modified. But, you know, obviously the trucks are a lot slower. So, you know, I know the track, you know, kind of know the rhythm, you know, we're going slower. So I might, you know, that might be something that comes to me pretty quick.
Just real quick with the truck series now, are you still allowed to use built engines in that, or is everybody run the Ilmore engine?
No, it's all the Ilmore. It's all spec engine. So that's what makes it so tough. You know, it's all momentum. It's just keeping your momentum up. And then one of the cool things about this weekend, which I never did, we were shifting in 1 and 2. So
I saw it on TV. That's pretty cool.
Lap, it's like you drop it in third and then put it in fourth every lap. It's like, I never did this before on a circle track. So that was pretty fun. But it was new. It was new to me.
You must have held your breath. You're like, is this thing going to blow up or what, man? That must be pretty freaky downshifting at that speed and then, you know, shifting back up, you know?
Well, that's the thing. You like it. I'm not going to lie. I don't downshift going in the corner anywhere, you know? So I struggled a couple times to get it out of third. You know what I mean? Because
really?
If you're going down the corner, it's loaded up. It doesn't want to come out of gear. So you almost have to either be completely rolling or actually get back to the gas a little bit to get it to come out of third or come out of fourth, and then go into third. You know what I mean? So it just didn't want to come out of gear on a load. So it took about 15 laps.
The very first couple laps, or did you wait to get a little used to the track first and wait until the field spread out a little bit before you tried shifting, or did you do it right away?
No, I mean, on restarts and the initial start, you'd run down I was running down the front stretch in third. Mm-hmm. And then, but the first full lap, no, I figured I had to do it. The faster trucks would be doing it. So I figured, heck, I might as well start now so I can figure it out. So no, the first lap I actually did shift just to see what it would do.
Wow, you had a big learning curve at the beginning of that race. New track, shifting, racing a truck and not a modified. I'm telling you, Danny, you did a great job. And I work with a lot of people around here that are involved in racing through my towing business, and everybody's really happy for you and said, "No, Danny did a really great job. We're very proud of you up here." And we're all following what you're doing. We know you have a regular job too, but now you're going to be taking days off from your regular job to go racing. How's that going over at work?
Actually pretty good. He's, I'm trying to be upfront with him about my schedule. Everybody's entitled to vacation days. So, I haven't exceeded any of those. And honestly, he's been really supportive of it. Obviously he's a good one to have in your corner. So, I was texting him back and forth over the weekend about Gateway, and, I'm sure we'll talk about Darlington and all the tracks coming up. So, just very fortunate for him to, work with me on a deal like this. It's obviously not the ideal situation for an employer or a worker, but, he's a racer, and, he's been in the business, and, he knows what it means to me. It's honestly a huge achievement for me. I mean, not many people get this opportunity, and I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not, it's just a really big opportunity. And, I'm hoping there's been, tons of people that gave me opportunities, to drive their cars, sponsored me, helped me this way, helped me that way. And, I'm hoping to make all of them proud is the main thing. And, I just want to represent the short track people. I think there's plenty of people like me out there that deserve the same opportunity. Unfortunately, they probably won't get it, but, if I can keep doing what I'm doing and open some eyes, maybe, Ryan Priest did it. There's several of them that made it through the short track world up there. So, just doing the best I can for everybody that's helped me get to this point.
Now, how will Darlington work for you? Do you just go there on Sunday morning and go race? Is it a one-day thing, or do you go there Saturday night, or how's that work with the COVID stuff?
Honestly, the least amount of time you're at the track, it's better.
Right.
All of our drivers meeting stuff is through the phone, so it's just you make a phone call. But I'll ride down Saturday morning. My brother Michael's going to go with me. But we'll ride down, or Sunday morning, and get there, I don't know, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours before the race, and put your fire suit on and jump in.
It's kind of cool, man. It's kind of like racing in the express lane, man, at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? I always got nervous when I went to my first couple enduro type races at tracks I'd never been at, and no practice, no that. But like I said, after a few laps, and then when the day was over, it's like, man, that was kind of cool not having qualified or practice or anything like that. You just jump in and go. At least you had a few pit stops. If the truck wasn't handled, you could make a few adjustments. Did you travel out the Gateway by yourself, or did any of your family members like Michael or your dad go with you out there?
No, it was just me and the team. And that worked out pretty well. I rode out with the team Friday. I work half days Friday for Ray, and then so we all left around 12:30 Friday. Got out there Friday night. I did some sponsor stuff Saturday at the track, and helped set up the display stuff, and then raced Sunday. And then the good thing about living here is they have they have that Victory Air and them charter companies that fly out of Statesville. So. Heck, I was home at 6:15 on Sunday. I flew back, so I can make it back in time for work on Monday. So I didn't miss any work doing it. And like I said, I raced in St. Louis and was walking in my front door at 6:15. The same day. So it was honestly, it's a little I don't know. I guess you could say it makes you spoiled. I guess.
Yeah, it spoils you a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, well, this is.
It's like you went and raced in St. Louis, you didn't even get your hands dirty, and you're back home having dinner.
Well, the biggest thing, the time that really was wow, was Phoenix. We raced Phoenix. It was a night race. I think we pulled out of the track there at, I don't know, 10 or something like that. We ran across the street to the airport, flew back here, which is Phoenix is in Arizona, halfway across the country. I think I pulled in my driveway at 4:15 in the morning. I went to bed, slept till 10 or something like that. I woke up. I'm like, I'm kind of tired. It's like, well, heck, I did race at Phoenix last night. You know what I mean? it's just did that just happen?
It's pretty crazy.
So,
I know your time at the track was limited, but did you happen to see any of the Indy cars on the track at all?
I did actually. Yeah, I had sat there and watched. They raced on Saturday, so I sat there and watched that race. Just to see if. Heck, I can learn anything, watch the different lanes, and obviously not a lot of that stuff applies to what we're doing, but no, I did get they tried to keep us separated from them, obviously, but we were able to watch.
That's pretty cool.
I know a lot of people aren't huge IndyCar fans. Me and Josh are. I do enjoy the IndyCar series. If you've never seen them in person, the first time you see them race, you'll be amazed how fast they are. They are so fast, it's unbelievable. What did you think of the speeds of the IndyCar, and was that the first time you ever seen them live?
Well, I mean, it was one of them. I thought, this is just me telling you what I feel. I thought like they would have been faster. But my first time I saw the IndyCars, I was at the Indianapolis 500. So
wow.
I don't know if you've ever been there, but
no, that's
they
on my
get around there.
As soon as I'm done racing, I'm going there.
Yeah, when they fly around there, like that's unbelievable watching them go around there. So when I saw them at Gateway, I'm like, well, I thought maybe they'd be a little faster, but no, I mean, obviously they were definitely getting around there pretty quick.
Well, I tell you what, going back into the 90s, though, I worked for the Truex Motorsports when Martin Sr. was driving in the Busch North, and we used to have combination races with the Indy cars at New Hampshire, and I enjoyed watching them and everything. But, man, if you ever want to feel like a second-class citizen at a racetrack, Josh, be on a NASCAR team at an IndyCar weekend. We felt so low class, like they didn't even pay attention to us. We were just people that were street stocks in their eyes, like they could care less about us up there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to bring up, there's a couple times I've been out to Pocono for the IndyCar race, and, if you've ever been to an air show and watched the jets go out, and, usually those two that break away from the pack and just go and do some turns way out in the distance, that's what the IndyCars look like. They're just at jet fighter speeds making that turn two, as they would call it at Pocono. And like in the it was just absolutely incredible, and that's actually not all that different from Indy speed wise, because they run that the low downforce package.
The Pocono too, and that's where I was talking about the speed of them. But Danny, going back to the NASCAR being like a second class citizen compared to the IndyCar guys, did you feel any of that while you were at the track?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, protocol is a lot different than what it typically is, so I probably didn't get the full effect. Yeah. But I mean, right now, like. You feel like a second-class citizen everywhere you go. You know what I mean? You gotta wear a mask. You can't do this, can't do that. So, it's almost like, I know I can't go over there. You know what I mean? Just because of everything that's going on. So,
I mean, it was at the point for us. We're trying to push our cars through tech, and like people are driving by on mopeds, blowing their horns at us, like we were in their way. We're working, trying to get the car through tech. Next thing I look over, there's like Nigel Mansell behind us on a scooter, beeping his little horn at us, or Mario Andretti or somebody like that. I'm like, oh my god, why are we even here? I swear to God, when I was at that race at New Hampshire, the pace cars for the Indy series were faster than the Busch North cars. They were literally setting the pace cars up in the pits, like scaling them and everything, like putting shocks and springs on them just so they're fast enough to pace the field,
Yeah, no, that's.
Well, actually, let's bring this up real quick, because I remember we talked about it earlier or a while ago on the podcast when Formula One went to Circuit of the Americas, and IndyCar. Formula One was 14 seconds faster per lap than the Indy cars. So if you thought Indy cars were fast,
I don't even know what it'd be like to drive one of them. It'd be fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but, that's a different animal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the Gateway, the track itself is really designed for IndyCar racing. But I tell you what, the trucks were very racy on that track. I was surprised how good that race was for the big heavy trucks.
I agree, Scott. There were two good racing lanes there.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, we saw where I think it was Creed drove in too deep, took out Gilliland and all that. But there was some racing, and as Danny said, if you get behind somebody and lose that arrow on the nose, it'll push right up, and that's a problem. It is, but it showed itself. But otherwise, it was a very, very racy track.
Yeah. Danny, did you have a lot of passing zones, or did you just pick like one part out on the track where you can do most of your passing?
I mean, there was kind of people passing everywhere. I thought where the restarts were the best for me to pass, but when I was actually, coming through traffic, my best shot at passing somebody was being able to kind of arc it through 1 and 2, get it cut early. Driving a little high into 1, get it cut early, kind of like a Wall Stadium move, drive down the track, come off on the bottom straight, and then you could just get, enough momentum and the straightaways are so long there that if you can get to the gas a little bit earlier, you have all that straightaway to finally, make it work. So
right.
That's where I was passing most of the trucks that I passed was off of turn 2. 3 and 4 is kind of like a big arc. And, I think I could have passed more there if I would have moved up to the higher groove at some point. But like I said, I'll make a notebook and I'll just be that much more prepared for next year.
All right, Danny, I just got a couple more questions from you. We've had you on here for 45 minutes already. I don't want to take up too
I
much
told
of
him
your
it'd be
time.
15 to 20 minutes.
I know you want to head home.
15 or 20.
I did notice a couple weeks ago when Bowman Gray finally canceled their whole season, which was a total shame. They had to cancel the whole 2020 season. I know you plan on racing some races over there. They pretty much took, from what I can tell from up here by paying attention on Facebook and stuff like that, it seemed to me like they pretty much just took the whole show that they would have at Bowman Gray and moved it over to a track in Virginia called Franklin County Speedway. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, a couple tracks have done that. Ace did it for a little while in the beginning of the year, and then the governor shut them down. So then Franklin County did that, and it gives us a place to race. And obviously, the diehard Bowman Gray fans are itching to go to the racetrack, so they get to go see their favorite drivers, and then and it's not that far, so they had actually really good turnouts everywhere that they did.
Really? I enjoyed racing at Franklin County. When I raced in that Arch Truck Series, we raced at Franklin County quite a bit. I think it was like a half hour or 45 minutes north of Martinsville or something like that, below Roanoke. It was a great track. Yeah, it's old. It's an old classic racetrack. It's been around since the beginning of time. And, when I was there, the upkeep wasn't the greatest, but the track itself was very racy. It was kind of cool because you put it in the infield. It had a little pit road. You can see like where the old press box from back in its heyday when NASCAR would have, push races there and stuff like that. When I saw you were going there, I just knew you were going to do well because I've been down there before and I used my Wall Stadium setup down there. And other than turning a couple hundred more RPMs down at Franklin County, it was pretty much similar to Wall Stadium in setup wise, where my Wall Stadium setup worked very well there. So when you were going there, I was like, I hope he goes there with his Wall Stadium setup because he'll do great over there. And he ended up winning. What did you think about that track?
Well, you're right. It's kind of like going back in time a little bit, but, very nice people run the place and very accommodating. But it's like going back in time, I guess you could say. The track's a little, the track comes up. Sometimes I got to go out and repair the track. I actually went there in 2009, and when I think it was the ASA tour ran there with I never saw the place until I raced there then, and we run third there. Brian King won, Teddy Christopher was second, and I was third. So it does relate a lot like Wall Stadium, the banking and the size and stuff like that. So I think that's why I ran well when I ran there the first time, and then we went up there, what was that? I think a month and a half ago. And I've kind of been struggling with my car a little bit the last couple of years. And we made some changes over the winter and really, really got into the detail stuff. And, we went up there. We had a really good day. We qualified on the pole, and it was twin 50s. I won the first 50 lapper. And there were some good cars there. Honestly, I think it was the best car I ever drove in my life. It was like, I was out like 10 car lengths leading. It was just green to checker. There was no cautions. And they're yelling at me to slow down. I'm like, well, I'm not even driving home. There was one of those days. It was like, you're not always going to get a car like that. But, it's definitely a cool place. And have a lot of fun racing there.
Josh, that was the track I told you about when we raced there. They actually had a boxing ring in between 1 and 2. People would go there and fight, stuff like that. And another thing that happened down there when you're out of New Jersey racing was there was an accident on the back straightaway in like their 4-cylinder division. And the guy literally got out of his car because his bumper got ripped off and the bumper was laying on the track. Well, he picked his bumper up. I thought he was just picking his bumper up to put it in the car and get this car towed off. Well, when the guy came around that wrecked him, the guy took the bumper and threw it through the guy's windshield.
Oh my God.
and they ended up throwing him out. And what they did is they hooked the guy's race car up with the tow truck and literally towed him out to the highway, like off the property. Like told me his truck trailer, your car's out on the highway, go pick it up out there.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, their highways are not quite the same as being on the park. It's on the parkway.
That is another thing. When I was down there, it was probably 2004 was the last time I was there. It was a little off the beaten path to get to that racetrack. I think he got off of Route 7. I forget what highway it was, but it wasn't on a major highway. You had to go down a few country roads to get to it. I think it was off of 220 or something like that.
Yeah, if you go race there, do not follow your GPS. You have to call either the track promoter or somebody that knows the area. I went through a bridge with my trailer. It was no wider than my trailer, and it was really no taller than my trailer. It was all back roads. Like the last 20, 25 miles was all back roads. And I did it years ago, but I came from 81 or 77. But I went up 85 this time, up by Martinsville. I'm like, well, heck, I'm coming in from a different way. I should be fine. Well, I came up to this bridge. Literally, the mirrors on my truck were an inch from each side of it, and there's a line of cars behind me. I'm like, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to make it through this. So, yeah, windy roads, and and I have a small trailer, fortunately. But if I had anything, like half these guys have, there's no way they would have made it there.
So actually, I got to ask Danny real quick. Going to Evergreen, have you ever done the downhill to Evergreen / Mountain Speedway?
Yeah, no, I have. Yep.
How does that compare? Just because I know that's kind of a cluster F as you go trying to get in there too.
Well, that's just a little stretch. That's not that long. We're 25, 30 miles.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Like that,
left,
Josh.
right. Rocks in the road. No lines on the road. Cars, lanes that are no wider for one car. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome.
I even have a funny story. We left there. We won the race there, and we had a blast after the race. We stayed and hung out, man. They break out like moonshine and everything, and they party afterwards. And we had 3 people in the front seat of my truck. It was me, Nancy, and my cousin. And we left the racetrack, and we're laughing, and we're talking about the day's events. But we got out to Route 220, the main highway, to make the left on that to run up to Roanoke to get on 81. Well, I make the left on 220. Next thing I know, headlights are coming at us. I made the left, but I was going up the southbound. I was going north on the southbound side. I didn't cross over those 2 lanes and then make the left to get on the northbound side. We were just laughing and had such a good time just talking about a race. And next thing I know, I'm going the wrong way on the highway. I literally had to put my truck in 4-wheel drive and go through the grass median to get on the northbound side. Yeah, it's definitely a cool track. If anybody's ever down that way, go to Franklin County. It's got a lot of modified history there. As a matter of fact, a lot of people told me that Richie Evans and them would race Martinsville during the day and then shoot up to Franklin County for a Sunday night race. They would race Martinsville during the day and then stop at Franklin, leave Martinsville, head up. I think it was only 20 minutes or a half hour up the road to Franklin County and race again. It had a rich modified history there. And another reason why I knew Wall Stadium was very similar to that track is after I won there, some old time guy came over there that's been at the racetrack forever. And he said, once I found out you were from Wall Stadium, I knew you were going to win. I said, well, why is that? I said, you ever been to Wall Stadium? He's like, no. But when Harry Gant and Bobby Allison would go up to New Jersey and race at Wall Stadium, they would always stop here at this track first and practice and set their cars up and then leave here and go to Wall Stadium. So I thought that was a cool little story too.
Yeah, no, it definitely has a lot of similarities. Obviously nothing's exactly like Wall Stadium, but it had a lot of similarities, which I think helped me. And then but yeah, it was definitely an experience. That's one of the cool things about, the last few years is being able to race at a lot of these old tracks that, have a lot of history. Bowman Gray being one of them. So, instead, definitely fortunate to be able to do what I'm doing lately.
All right, we're going to let you get going, but I'm just going to ask you a couple of crazy questions here. Do you guys still own your property up in Freehold at all, or did you guys sell the farm up there and all that stuff?
No, we sold it all, actually. Same family owns the house I grew up in, and then owns where the tires were where my grandfather lived. So like I said, everything's kind of still the same in a sense, but just a different family lives there.
I just got a couple crazy questions to ask you because my brother Tim and Josh, they're into like Bigfoot and the Jersey Devil and stuff like that.
Oh, jeez.
And Josh grew up on a farm too in Tom's River and seen some crazy stuff. I'm just wondering, you grew up on that property in Freehold. Did you ever see anything crazy like Bigfoot or the Jersey Devil or maybe a gnome or something like that?
No, I haven't. My dad, we were into deer hunting, so we used to go spotlighting deer, and there was a farm about 15 minutes from us, my dad, and it was an old rundown house. He used to tease us all the time, said that the Jersey Devil lived in there. You know, we were young, so we believed him, but I haven't personally seen anything up there.
Okay, I just had to ask. All right, Danny, we had you on for an hour. We told you we weren't going to keep you on for 20 minutes, but that never seems to happen.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So I'm going to let you get going because I know you got to drive home from the race shop. I just want to say that we're very, very proud of you up here. We're all pulling for you. We all wish you very well, and good luck down in Darlington.
No, I appreciate all the support, and like I said, thank you again for having me on the show. Like I said, I'm doing it for all the short trackers. You know, I'm blessed to have this opportunity with On Point Motorsports. You know, very fortunate to have the support with North American Motor Car, Sierra Delta, my family, my dad, my boss. You know, everybody that's helped me get to this point. You know, I'm just, like I said, I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I'm hoping that it takes me somewhere. You know, I'm trying. It's definitely, if it doesn't, it's not from the lack of effort. I can tell you that.
Okay, Danny, we're pulling for you, and thanks for coming on, and we'll see you soon. Good luck in Darlington.
Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Bye.
Take a break, Josh.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break.
This is the RPM Podcast.
These guys are ruthless. They'll stick it in a hole that's not there.
And we're back. Part 2 of the RPM Podcast. We want to thank Danny Bohn for coming on. He's always a great guest. It's cool having him on because we get the local Danny Bohn, the local driver Danny Bohn, and we get the national now driver Danny Bohn. So we can talk, about local racing, and we can talk, the big NASCAR stuff with him too. He's a great guest. He really loves racing. He's like all of us. He just really, really loves to race.
You know, I didn't realize it, but like, you know how me and Scott grew up. It was Ray Abraham we know him from Wall Stadium, and then the younger generation it was Martin Truex, and I never. But Bailey absolutely loves. We just had on Danny Bohn, and I never realized it. She knows Martin Truex is from Wall Stadium and Ray Abraham, but she never seen them race.
Right.
She actually got to see Danny race, so that's why she likes him so much. It's, another generation coming up that.
Danny Bohn is from Freehold, New Jersey, and unfortunately, we got a little bad news out of Freehold, New Jersey tonight. Don Patterson passed away this morning. He's known for the Patterson's greenhouses up in Freehold. They have like a family fun day every year at their farm. My brother takes the kids. It's all the flowers they grow in the greenhouses. You can tour the greenhouses. They also have they bring race cars in because the Pattersons were very big racers back in the 70s and the 80s. Me and Tim remember them racing in the sportsman division. They always had these beautiful gold cars with it was like a brownish gold color and with yellow numbers. It was a real original color for a race car. It's not a common color you've seen on a race car very often, but their cars matched. Don was the 33, Larry was the 43. They used to race together. It was really cool seeing them out on the racetrack. Unfortunately, Don passed away this morning. It's sad news because the Pattersons really, really loved racing. They loved farming. I think they were even school bus drivers for a while. I think they had school buses back in the day too.
Yeah.
Me and Timmy grew up with Cindy Patterson, so we spent time up at the Patterson's farms when we were kids, and the Pattersons lived right around the corner from the Rigglemans on Merrick Road, so our families knew each other. So it's very sad to say that Don passed away this morning.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's been incredible with the racing family over the years, but it's inevitable.
We've been hard hit, huh?
Yeah, it's been rough, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I don't want to just chalk it up as another 2020 thing, but, I mean, it certainly doesn't help this year, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, another quick story I want to I learned a valuable lesson out in my race car shop this week. Josh, here's a little quiz for you, RPM podcast quiz. I told you once before I have two hobbies. One's a high dollar, high intensity, lot of work hobby. And then I started a second hobby that I wanted to be a relaxed, laid back, just something I can enjoy hobby. You remember what that was, Josh?
Whittling? I don't know.
Nah, coffee drinking.
Magnet fishing?
At age 47, I took up coffee drinking. I always hated coffee. I don't know. I just never liked the smell of it. Everybody would spill it in my truck. I hated coffee. Well, the other night in the race shop, I remember why I hate coffee so much. So anyway, I go out in the garage to work on the race car, bring a cup of coffee out there with me. I actually picked up a cup of coffee on the way home. And, it was in like a Wawa cup like Josh has right now.
Yep.
Only problem was there's still like 10 old Wawa cups of coffee out there. And I got working on the race car and things were going well and I'm drinking my coffee and I go to grab my coffee and I take a big swig of it. Well, guess what? I didn't grab my fresh cup of coffee. I grabbed a cup of coffee that's been sitting out there for a couple of weeks.
Oh.
Well, at least it didn't have a cigarette butt or anything in it. Did it?
No one smokes in my garage. It had a lid on it, but it had the most sourest taste in the world.
Dude, it had to be growing mold. There's no way it wasn't.
It had to be growing mold, Josh, because I've left coffee out there for 2 days in like an electric coffee cup, that I bring it back into the house, and it's starting to get mold in it already.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit my lips, I knew I was in trouble, and I had a mouthful. It was a big swig. So needless to say, I want a little bit of a break from my coffee drinking.
What do you put in your coffee?
I put sweet and low and creamer.
Sweet and low.
Like real creamer, like dairy product creamer or non-dairy?
Well, at home I use the powdered stuff. I like the powdered stuff. I don't know why, but I like the powdered stuff. But because it was a Wawa, it was most likely
real stuff
or regular whole milk.
Ooh, that's worse.
Do you snort,
I tell you, I was behind my garage getting that cup of coffee up for a while, man. It was a bad experience. So all the racers out there, when you're done drinking coffee or you're done in the garage for the night, throw your coffee cups away because you can accidentally pick one up and drink it.
Speaking about getting a bad mouthful,
oh boy,
Ron Jeremy's in a lot of trouble.
Oh really? What happened to him?
Got like 30 counts of rape.
Oh really?
Jeez.
Poor Ron Jeremy.
Actually, there was a guy that was arrested. I want to say it was like in the Lacey area. It was on like the Ocean County Scanner News or whatever. And all the comments, because the guy looked like Ron Jeremy's freaking twin.
I saw that. Yeah.
It was like, how is that not him?
Yeah. All right, guys. A lot of the local racing stuff got rained out this weekend. And it was great timing to have Danny have a good run in the truck race and come on with us because we didn't have much to talk about locally. But two things did get to race. New Egypt Speedway was one of them, and the Sunday Series was the other one. So we're going to do the New Egypt Speedway results real quick. Two guys we know real well from Wall Stadium had victories over at New Egypt Speedway. Jimmy Blewett being one. He finally broke the ice over there and won a modified race.
It took a while, didn't it?
Yeah, but I tell you what, he's been faster over there.
He's been good for a long time. It's just for some reason it's kind of like that was like the whole. This is a terrible relation, but the whole Dale Senior trying to win at Daytona or win the 500 kind of a thing.
But Jimmy almost had the race won last weekend. They had a special 77 lapper that paid a lot of money, like $7,700. It was the Ron John Cousin Memorial race.
Right.
And Jimmy led 72 laps of it, and they said the fuel pump broke off the car with 5 to go, and he had the race pretty much in hand. So that was a heartbreaker. But for him to come back for the twin 20s that they had, they called it the modified double dip. He didn't do so hot in the first one, but he was able to win the second one. And by the videos I saw, he pretty much dominated. He was pretty much gone from the pack and won. So I'm glad for Jimmy. I'm glad for Grandpa Blewett. I know they had a fresh Martino motor in, because the reason why Jimmy was back at Wall for a little while is they did pull the motor out of the dirt car and it was getting rebuilt, and it took a couple weeks to get done. So he missed a couple weeks at New Egypt. So he went racing at Wall Stadium. So he was back there with a fresh motor.
Was he running Martino before that, or what? Do you know?
No, he's always had Martino motors over there. Yeah,
I was just curious.
Another Wall Stadium racer that was able to win in the 4-cylinder division was Neil Rutt III. Wall Stadium got rained out, so I guess he bought his car over there and he was able to win on the dirt, and that's really cool. that he got a chance to race there, and he was able to win. So his father was saying on Facebook that they're very happy about that win because Neil Rutt III's grandfather, which is Neil Rutt Jr.'s father, he also won in New Egypt back in the pavement days with the modern stocks. So it was cool. And then Neil Rutt III was able to win over there at a track that his grandfather won at.
That was actually a good race. It was
a good race. I watched Lisa Hartwick's live feed on Facebook. Yeah. It was a good race. It was a very good race.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I know we've had Neil on the show before. Yeah, we're friends and all that. But, I mean, truly, after racing with him and seeing what he's accomplished, he's one of those guys that you have to watch out for. If he gets good funding behind him, any car you put him in, give him a little bit of time, he's going to win.
And you know what? And Saturday morning was a crazy day because it poured, man. It poured all day Saturday morning. I was out town. I went out town. I'm like, if we're not racing, Wall Stadium canceled on Friday night, which is nice for a guy like me because I don't have to go home and load my stuff up Friday night. I get up early Saturday morning, load everything up, and then before you know it, it gets rained out, and I loaded everything up for nothing, Josh, is that a fresh cup of coffee you're drinking? That's not an old one that's been sitting around.
DoorDash brought it off. It tasted fresh. This was a DoorDash thing, so
I was real happy that Wall Stadium did cancel on Friday because all week long it was 90% chance of rain.
Oh yeah.
So I go out towing, and Nancy even went to the tow truck with me. We went and towed a couple of cars, and we got back home around 1:00. I sat down on the couch, got on my phone, and I saw New Egypt was racing. I said, "Oh wow!" And it was clearing up here around 1:30. It was clearing up. I said, "Nancy, we can take the tow truck over to New Egypt like we usually do when we're not at Wall, and we'll do the towing, and we'll go watch the races." She's like, "Scott, the 8-cylinders are scheduled for Bridgeport. You might want to check to see if they're racing." So I went on Bridgeport's Facebook site, and they were still racing too. But I had to change the gears in my car to go down there. Oh. So I went out in the garage and started changing the gears in the race car, and then I came back in, and unfortunately Bridgeport had a storm roll through, and they ended up getting rained out. So so then me and Nancy talked about going to New Egypt, but now it was like 5:30, 6:00 after I got the gears changed in the race car because I just kept changing them anyway because I had my next race is at Grandview anyway, so I had to put those gears in that car anyway. So I finished that job up and I came in and Nancy's like, let's go over to New Egypt now. But then Daytona was coming on at like 7:00. So I'm like, well, we might as well just stay home and watch Daytona now, So we did. We spent the night home watching Daytona. But it seemed like New Egypt was a perfect night for New Egypt. Wall rained out, Bridgeport rained out, so everybody congregated over to there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were the only game in town.
All of them were in the grandstands and stuff like that,
Yeah, good for them. It seems to have worked out. And again, as much as I personally prefer asphalt, dirt does have that advantage of being a little bit more able to play with things if you get a storm.
Yeah, because they went the track down anyway, you know?
Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm like, Nance, I don't know if I want to bring my tow truck over there because that infield had to be muddy. Like the grounds themselves had to be muddy. You know what I'm saying? Because it rained.
Was this before or after your crack in the windshield?
Another cool thing that happened over at New Egypt was not only did Neil Rutt III win, but his girlfriend Darianne, she was the wave girl in the pace truck for the modified race. Did you see that? She's the girl that hangs out the window and waves to the crowd and everything. So
no, I didn't see that. That's good for her.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Darianne got to do that,
Yeah, they're all good people. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the only cool thing about, like, if New Egypt rains out and Wall races, the New Egypt people get a chance to come over to Wall and experience what we do on a Saturday night, and vice versa. If Wall rains out, the Wall Stadium people get a chance to go over to New Egypt and experience what they experience on a Saturday night. And that's what happened this week. A lot of the Wall Stadium people drifted over to New Egypt, so it was great to see a lot of Wall Stadium people over there supporting another local racetrack.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that can work out and they can coexist like that. So, do you have the
Josh,
results pulled up?
Results?
Oh, I was just asking you if you had the results. I have the Sunday series up. I don't have New Egypt's up at the moment. I'm going to take care of that if you want to. Oh, that's not good. That is not
It's on there. It's on their Facebook. I just wanted to say, I was watching, I watch Lisa's feeds every week when they're there. Paul Harwood going to the last turn, come out of 4. It looks like he's going to hit the fence every lap. And then he turns right at the last minute. That scares him. He's got a scary line coming out of 4. It worked for him. He was fast.
No, I think the last lap you were talking about, Tim, I think he actually got hit in the center of the corner and got put up into the fence. because I think there was a little retaliation after the race. Because if you look at the results, Paul was DQ'd. Paul's listed last with a DQ in front of him, so I think he retaliated after the race and got in. I think he got in trouble for whatever he did after the race and got DQ'd.
The crowd looked like it was good.
Yeah, and they were the only show in town. So, like I said, everybody went over there. Plus, they were having twin 20s for the modifieds, so that's a good draw.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on the message board. I do have a quick top 5. Go ahead, Scott.
I have the 4-cylinder results. Josh, just go on the Egypt Speedway's Facebook. They list all the results on there.
That's what I'm looking at right now. So 4 hours ago, they posted the top 5 finishers from the second 20-lap feature, which we talked about. Jimmy Blewett getting the win. David Van Horn, Danny Bohn, Frank Cozzi, and Dom Buffalino are your top 5 there. And I'm going to keep scrolling until I find something.
I have the 4-cylinder feature quick results. They did list the whole field. We have Neil Rutt III, who took the win. Mike Fox was second. Joe Gary Sr. was 4th. Tim Jones was 5th. Shea Willis was 6th. Justin Dunn was 7th. Joe Gary Jr. was 8th. John Ciella was 8th. 9th was Scott Dunn. 10th was Joe Wolf. 11th was Albert Rummel. 12th was Brian Barker. 13th was Penny Horner. 14th was Eric Degler. 15th was Dominic Antelio. And dead last and DQ'd was Paul Hartwick.
Oh, wait. You mean Dominic Antonelli, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I have the top 5 from the first 20-lap feature. That would be Danny Bohn, Davey Sammons, Wade Hendrickson, Don Buffalino, and Mike Butler. And what else was there other than the 4-cylinders and the mods? Do we know?
I really
Sportsman. Hang on. No, that's the point standings. That does not help me. New Egypt, update stuff, please. Yeah, this is why we do the show, right? All right, well, I tried. So we'll go with that. That's going to cover New Egypt. But I'm glad that they were able to get something in, especially with the way this year has gone. And for it to have been so clear for most of the week and then just downpour like it did on Saturday.
Yeah, but they were calling for that rain all week. I was watching from like Monday. It was like 90%. I think on Wednesday it was 100% chance of rain on Saturday.
Well, that was predicted. That was all from that Laura hurricane that went down through the Gulf and then came back up. And
to tell you the truth, Wall Stadium probably could have raced because it did clear up here around 3:00. But by then, I can't blame them for canceling because by then the casual fans making other plans. It's going to be a money loser. You know what I'm saying?
It was extremely humid and damp here in Farmingdale, which is literally 2 miles from the track. I don't think they ever would have got the track dry. It was so humid out.
Well, I mean, so actually, this is a weird question. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not expecting anybody to know. But I know that in the past for Turkey Derby, Wall has, I guess, rented the jet dryer from Englishtown. Do we know where that ended up?
No, they should have bought it.
Yeah,
I guess it got sold in the auction. I guess.
That's the only guess that I would have at that. But unless they used it for
they drive the track off and raced it, it probably would have been a money loser.
Oh yeah,
even like the grandstands would have been light on fans, and then the casual racer that races and not in their points, they probably wouldn't have showed up either. You know?
Oh no, I absolutely agree. I'm just thinking. Even long term, like especially something like Turkey Derby, where it really sucks to reschedule that. It's not like a regular Saturday night. If you can do all that you can to get that in, that would be a really nice asset to have a jet engine on staff to handle that. Which I'm mad because I wanted Alan Brenner to take me for a ride in that sucker. All right, so enough of that. But good for New Egypt. Glad that worked out. It sounds like everybody had a good time. I need to get
Josh. I found the other results for New Egypt. If you want me to do them real quick,
yeah, please go ahead.
You pretty much covered it all. Let's see here.
I think we're just looking at sportsmen.
There was a rookie sportsman race. Mason McGee won that race. Paul Mancini was second. Amanda Buttrell was third. Will Protnick was fourth, and Nick Steffen was fifth.
Where's Houdini?
Houdini doesn't race up there. I don't know.
We got to get him on.
Larry's Hot Rods and Harley's LLC Northeast Wingless Sprint Cars. They had a 20-lap feature. It was won by Rich Millar. The second was Jeremy Quick. Guess he wasn't quick enough to win. The third was Larry Drake. Fourth was Brian Spencer. Five was Hayden. Sixth was Lee Nardelli. Seventh was Dwayne Nixon. Eighth was Ken Niels. And I just lost it. And ninth was John Bramall. 10th was Steve Kaiser. 11 Ricky Rutt. 12 Gary Hudson. And then we have.
Yeah, it's not been my night, that's for sure.
The sportsmen were there. They had a 20-lap feature. It was won by Bob Lineman. Second was Jim Hausworth. Third was John Crisconi. Fourth was Will Dupree. Fifth was David Burns. Sixth was Matt Ellery. Seventh was Joseph Brown. Eighth was Marty Resnick. Ninth was Paul Mancini. 10th was Aaron Weaver.
Okay. Was that everyone?
So that covers that.
Okay.
All right. New Egypt was the only local track able to get it in. I think Evergreen did not have racing because they had their drift stuff going on.
Okay.
And Mahoney Valley rained out as well. Bridgeport rained out as well. Wall Stadium rained out. But Wall Stadium did race the Sunday series. My niece's race on the Sunday series. My brother wasn't feeling up to par, so he wasn't at their track on Sunday. But Josh did get an email from the Sunday Series people, and we're going to do the results for the Sunday Series now.
I want to give another shout-out to Robin and Tom Irvin for giving us these updates with the emails because, honestly, it makes it so much easier for us to access and put this out there for everybody. And I really think the Sunday Series is underrated for a lot of things because it is good racing, and you can go there and watch for free. But I understand, I totally get, if it's been a long Saturday night and, you just don't get up early enough, I get it. But, it's really good to see these kids out there doing their thing and working their way up to, even the bigger cars as it goes on. But so, again, thank you to Robin and Tom Irvin for helping us out with this. They're great people, very involved, and it's just awesome to be part of this community. So with that said, I'm going to start by reading some of the results. So we had the blue plate division, which was won by Alex Rogers, followed by Aiden Spencer, Alexis Riggleman, Aiden Grates, and Bailey Riggleman. The red plate was Kevin Davison Jr. and Howie Conk Jr. The senior 206 was Jim Hall Jr. Junior champs, that was won by Will Cloud, followed by Tyler Ritchie and Jared Okerson. The kid carts was taken by Christina R. Now, for the WF Microstocks. Now, Tim, do you know what that stands for by chance?
World Formula.
Yeah.
World Formula Microstocks. Okay. Richie Tazinski, Joe Gary, Ashley Tyler, Robert Wallman, MS Gary. I don't know if that's supposed to be Miss. I don't know. Maybe that was just a typo. I'm not sure. Tim, do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Mike Tudor, Mike Fox Jr., Brian Russell, and Ryan Baxter. Now, then the modified micro stocks. That was won by Mike Brennan, followed by Tom Irvin, Ryan Baxter, Jim Van Dyne, Mike Fox Jr., John Almick, Richie Tazinski, Ashley Tyler, and Brian Russell. So it looks like, those, the last two there have quite a few racers in there. Now, Tim, I'm just curious, and this might help for the fans and anyone interested in getting involved in this. What is the difference between the blue plate and the red plate divisions?
It's just a slide, like a restrictor, right, Tim?
Yeah, just the restrictor plate in the motor.
All right, so
they all run the red's the smallest, then the blue. Actually, then there's like a gold, like when you first start off, but then they go red, blue, and then it goes from there. I don't know what color the modified one is. They might not run one at all. That might be open for them.
So Josh, it's a real cool system they have in the Sunday series like that. You know how we have like a sportsman division and a modified division, and they're two different motors? Well, it's basically the same thing, but you're only putting a restrictor plate in. They call it a slide. It's a plate. You just slide it in between the carburetor and the intake. So
Right.
when your kid starts out, they're in the slower division, but when he's doing good or she's doing good and wants to move up the division, you just change the restrictor, the color of the restrictor,
Right,
and
right.
it's identified by color, but it's a different size restrictor. I
Now,
remember
is
one
that
year they
handed?
wanted to try a different color slide, and Jimmy Blewett really wanted to do it, and Jimmy Blewett actually bought everybody the slides,
Oh,
the
that's cool.
plates.
Now, is there? Do you hang on to that, or is that given out each time you go to the track?
No, you got to buy it yourself.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, but I mean, like once it's tacked and sealed, then it's good. Or I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
there's a thing that had to
Yeah,
be
they-
put in each week or anything like that.
They seal. No, they seal it.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, that sounds really good. I mean, it's a good, fair way to handle things, and it's good to see the girls out doing their thing. And I just
I did get a report that Bailey spun out a few times again going into the corner. Do you think you have a handling issue there, or a brake issue there, or why the cart's loose going into the corner?
She they had to change something in the front end, and it just made the car loose. They just didn't have it as tight as it needed to be, which is actually good that she spun it out because now I know she's going hard. She's actually driving faster than the cart's capable. You know what I'm saying? That the cart's better than her. So they just got to tighten it back up, and she'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a good way to learn the limits. As much as it sucks to spin out, it's a good way to learn what the car is doing.
And then, she's just starting out, and this is a lesson she can learn too. Like maybe Tim talked to her and say, listen, drive the car that you have, not the car you wish you had. And after you spin out once or twice, now you know the car is loose going in. Now you got to back it up a little bit. You got to slow down going the corner. You can't charge the corner that hard. It's a great way to learn racing.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So it's good
They
to
had
see
a
that.
beautiful day. I tell you what, the rain Saturday cooled things off for Sunday, and Sunday was actually a beautiful day for racing. I was glad they were able to race on Sunday over there because the humidity was gone and it was a nice day. Finally, the Sunday series had the sun shining on them when they were able to race because they had a lot of cancellations this year to start off with because it was too hot or raining or everything. So finally, they had a beautiful day for racing, and thank God for them.
Yeah, I will say Sunday night I actually got to work an audio gig up in Long Branch, and I was up there 4:35ish, and I mean it was warm. But it wasn't humid. There was a nice little breeze that would come across. It was gorgeous, and then as it went into the night, I mean it cooled down. It was just Sunday was just gorgeous all the way around. So thank God September's here. It's all I'm gonna say. I'm done with this.
I tell you what, I love September and October. That's my favorite months of the year. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's the best for everything, for being outside, for hiking, for camping, for racing, everything. Yeah, absolutely. It's not those muggy summer days where you're, have to take your fire suit off in between everything. It's
not a great time for drinking 2-week-old coffee, though.
No, that's for sure. So, just to see if there's anything else I wanted to touch. Actually, I wanted to talk to Danny Bohn about, and we didn't get to, was there were 8 teenagers in that field.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's going to be interesting next week at Darlington too, because those same teenagers are going to be there. Plus, you have the 30-something or late 20-something like a Danny Bohn. Then we're skipping right over that. And we're going to a 50-year-old Greg Biffle and David Reagan. I know David Reagan and Trevor Bayne aren't that old, but they have a lot of experience. And even though Trevor Bayne has a Daytona 500 win, I think he has like 187 Cup starts. It's the first time him being in a truck. First time he's ever raced a truck.
Yeah. I was really enjoying the truck race that I saw on Sunday.
I was too. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be on that racetrack.
Yes, yeah, I absolutely agree. There was a little bit of some good action, a lot of really tight racing for the track that it was. So. And there was something else I had mentioned a while ago. I'm just going to get this out before I forget. I had talked about everybody talks about the Roval, and they mean Charlotte. Well, there was another track years ago that CART ran on that they called the Roval. It was actually the Rio de Janeiro track. And it was a whole complex, and you could use a whole road course, or you could use kind of a trapezoid shape, which is what the CART series ran on. And because it was a trapezoid, so all the corners were kind of funky. They called it a roval because they treated it like a half road course, half oval. But I mean, it was obviously closer to an Indy. But the track is long gone. I think it's like storage units or who knows what nowadays. But
if you want to talk road racing real quick, we can put this in our reviews and recommendations. The only problem is I forgot where I saw it. I think I saw it on YouTube through like a Roval title back in the 80s or late 80s, 85 to like 90. NASCAR was thinking about making a street circuit NASCAR division.
Okay.
It got to as far as where Bobby Allison Racing built a car for street racing, in the cities and stuff. And they didn't know if it was going to be a separate series, if they were going to do 5 races in the NASCAR Cup Series, where they can go to the street courses like a Long Beach and stuff like that. They just want to design a little bit better race car to put on a better show. That's why NASCAR doesn't go to street courses like Indy cars, because a 3,500-pound race car, the way that the Cup cars are designed, are not going to – they do good on the road courses because the road courses are wider and they got more sweeping turns and stuff like that. But when you get on those street courses, these cars aren't – Cup cars aren't going to stop and accelerate and pass like the Indy cars do. You know what I'm saying? So back in the day, they were designing one. I think there's a whole clip on YouTube talking about it. And they showed Bobby Allison like testing it and stuff like that. It just never took off, and they gave up on it.
If we find that clip, we'll share it on the Facebook page. But
it was definitely pretty cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I want.
Go ahead, Tim.
One thing I wanted to mention. I was talking about the Sunday series, because I don't know if you guys saw it on Facebook today, but in California they tore up the quarter midget track.
The go-kart track where Jeff Gordon started, right?
Jeff Gordon, Jason Leffler, and a couple other, J.J. Yaley maybe. That's where they started racing.
Mm-hmm.
And that track looked cool. It was high banked and everything. Did you see it?
It looked like it was a really nice facility. And apparently the town said that's it.
Oh, yeah. What was the other one, Tim? I think it was you that shared that link in our group message about
Mansfield, Ohio actually got dismantled.
Yeah.
That was one track that had a great start, but it fizzled pretty quick. My brother went to races there with the modified tour. He kind of said it was out in the middle of nowhere. It just never took off. It was a beautiful facility built in the middle of nowhere and just never quite took off the way it was.
They were donating those bleachers to what? The local schools or something?
Schools or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently the town just wanted it gone. They didn't want it there anymore. The part that said is like that was the guy that built it there was no dollar worth. If he needed it, if he wanted it, it was there. It was a beautiful, beautiful racetrack. It should be like where there's more people. There's nothing out there. It's right. It's in the back. It's in the backyard of the Shawshank Redemption jail.
Okay.
Yeah, the jail where they filmed Shawshank was right there.
Wow.
If you actually of course, I know Scott's a big fan of that movie, but when they're up on the roof and they're tarring the roof, Scott, you can actually see the light poles from the racetrack.
That's cool.
All
right, guys.
That's my history fact. All right, so
I got to get going here. So if we want to do a quick, what have we learned?
Yeah.
I want to say Thompson's tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I did watch the modified tour race on NBC Race Pass on NBC Gold on my phone app. It was real cool. I watched the Monadnock race they had on a lot of racing on TV and Track Pass and stuff. I think it was on Sunday. I watched the modified tour race. And tomorrow night, same thing on NBC Gold on the Track Pass app. Thompson Speedway is having a 150-lap modified tour race. It starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Okay. I think I'll tune into that. All right. So what have you learned today, Scott?
I learned that the Jersey Devil actually lives in an abandoned house down the street from Danny Bohn's family's farm in Freehold.
Okay. All right, Tim, how about you?
Scott said the only place to get it in this weekend was New Egypt Speedway, so glad they got it in. And I learned that Scott does not like chunky loads in his mouth.
I think Tim's going to win this week. Holy crap. Is that everything, Tim?
Yeah, it's good enough. Yeah.
Okay. I learned that Danny should have blamed the spotter. I learned that Scott had to use four-wheel drive to get on the right side of the highway. And I learned that Scott likes the powdered stuff. That's all. So I think
All right,
Tim
guys.
wins
So
today.
this weekend coming up, the factory stocks are not at Wall Stadium this weekend.
What?
How come I thought that they were.
Yeah, I thought it
guys
was
only have
a
one
full
week.
schedule for the factories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason they still gave every division one night off. And,
Oh, okay.
Labor Day weekend is our night off. I do have some plans to go enduro racing this weekend. Friday, I'm going to Grandview. They're having a 75 lapper with the Outlaw Enduro Series, so I'll be there Friday, and then I'll plan the rest of my weekend. See how that
Is this
night goes.
Cliff Krause race coming up?
Yeah, it is coming up, but it's not this weekend.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the factories would be on for that. Also, they're selling those. I think Elliot is selling those. I'm only here for the factory stock shirts. So if you want to buy one of those, meet him at his trailer or get in touch with him on Facebook. Those are some good shirts. Very simple,
And
but
the
to the point.
he's making off those shirts is going back to the factory stock division. What he's going to do, just on certain nights, he's just going to pick a random finishing spot and do a little kickback in money for that spot. It could be 7th, it could be 10th, or whatever it is. He's going to put it in a sealed envelope, and the night they're going to open it up, and he's going to give the guy $50 or $100 out of the proceeds from the T-shirt. So the more T-shirts he sells, the more money he can give back to the factory stock division.
Yeah, which is really good. That's a good way to go with that. I'm looking forward to getting the factory stocks back on the track there. But yeah, I think you guys have a deserved night off.
Scott, I know it's kind of a lot of people ask me every week in the grandstands, when are you going to get new shirts? Everybody asks me.
I spent a lot of money on shirts last time. We had a big order. It was I spent like $1,700 on shirts, and I like T-shirts. They're fun, but man, what a pain in the butt.
They're the biggest pain in the. Everybody wants them for free.
Everybody wants them. It's like I spent, between me and Nancy, we'd spend all week and all day at the racetrack worrying about distributing T-shirts and not worrying about our racing, But yeah, I not this year with the COVID stuff going on, and now the problem is if you order T-shirts now, Elliot talks you into buying hoodies and jackets and stuff, and that gets real expensive. You start buying $25 hoodies, it adds up quick, Like you don't say if I get T-shirts made up and they're $10 a piece, you're like, oh, they're only $10 a piece. But let me tell you, man, they add up quick. You order 144 of them, you're at $1,440. And then if you start getting plus sizes, they're $2 more a shirt. Before you know it, your bill's $1,800. And then I did sell some shirts, but a lot of the people I got to give shirts to because they've helped me out. Their family, their friends, they've helped me out. I do business with them. I can't charge them for a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? So
put me in charge. Put me in charge. Put me in charge. Everybody's buying the motherfucker. You're paying for it.
But Tim, you're exactly right. Before Nancy raced, she could handle the T-shirt sales, and she did a great job. She also did a good job, getting the sponsorships and keeping them happy. But now that she's racing as well as me, it's hard for us to do it on Saturday. We would need somebody like you to handle it,
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Actually, Scott, do you have a podcast hoodie?
No, I have the polo shirt.
Okay, now I got to get you a hoodie just in case. Because actually, we have to talk about that Worthless 500 Part 2 coming up. I think Chris Garbeck got in touch with you about that.
But the thing he sent me, I couldn't read the content on it. It wasn't.
Yeah, no,
there.
when he tagged us in wasn't there. He sent me a message, so I'll forward that to you.
Okay.
But because I think they try to keep it a little bit hush hush. But there's a really cool backyard race going on, and we'll see. Maybe we can do a live show from there. As long as Scott's not in Disney this time.
I am going to the Keys September 20th to the 25th, Tim, so I'll have all fresh stories from the Keys for you.
Concrete houses and all.
All right, guys, so that wraps up episode 182 of the RPM podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Go to Wall.
Wash your hands.
All right, good night, guys.